We have to turn that corner. We have to get into this bit, a way in which we're going to look at being serious and grown up about the culture and not having to just go along on a shoestring.
Using the bid as a damn good excuse to do perhaps what we should all be doing more of anyway, which is connecting, communicating, mapping, jointly advocating what we're doing, sometimes spoon feeding it to each other, sometimes pushing each other into it, all that kind of stuff.
Mapping and networking. I don't think we can shirk that one. I think it sort of gets put aside. It's incredibly difficult. It requires a lot of skill, but the lead has to be taken on that from the local authority because nobody else has done it. There used to be the first Thursdays, which were partly doing that, which were organised by the CIQ, Cultural Industries Quarter. But as we know, that was a bit of a barrier to about 90% of the city. So there's no way round trying to get a grip on a handle on what's going on, which is the mapping bit, and actually keeping that map alive and actually turning it into making it fruit-bearing by networking. And the networking is very, very complex. It's not just having a big jamboree once a year or whatever in the centre of the city. It's got to happen in all the neighbourhoods. It's got to happen at different times of day, night.
There's a lot of talk about culture not being a vote winner. We believe it is, not least because of the high level of political involvement in lots of local and community events, but this isn't multiplied and raised up to a council-wide level or a city-wide level. And we've talked about a number of communities today. Are they in the city? Are they not in the city? Well, they are in the city, and councillors are representing them, and they're involved in those events, but somehow that gets forgotten in the political translation. And it is a positive press magnet for Sheffield as a place to live in, that these quality activities go on there, and that they are ripe for development, ripe for attracting people. But we also have to tell the stories. We have to tell the stories about the events that we are involved in and to demonstrate that those are a positive advantage at local but also at city-wide level.
What we did talk about, this idea of not constraining creativity. We had no forms written down. And the idea of bureaucracy and things getting in the way of people doing it, lots and lots of people out there just doing it. And so how do we enable that and encourage that to really enable people to make the most of it? That's what we have to do, is to make the most of everything that we're doing.
And so we came up with a kind of strapline, loosely working it, about ingenuity and quality of design as being the kind of hook that we needed to take forward. Whether we focus in on what we started our discussions on was the centenary of Harry Brearley discovering stainless steel in 2013, through to all of the new modern digital artists.
The thing that we really keep coming back to is the number of very dynamic and world-class festivals that go on in Sheffield, and actually finding ways to build on those and capitalise on those.
If we're not careful, we're dividing and ruling by saying our event is better than your event when we're comparing, but we need to actually look individually and collectively at the economic impact of key festivals, organisations, exhibitions and activities.
We actually come up with this sort of theme, and we had a theme of gateways, and I don't know whether it's going to work, but we'll see whether this works. So we have the notion of gateways as possibly barriers now into the city. So we talked in the early stages about these sort of ways of getting into the city and how they need to look better and feel better and have more activity. Gateways as places, gateways as routes into the city. We talked about the gateway of information, which other people have picked up. Being able to get into the cultural activity through this doorway, whatever that is, radio or some sort of communication. So this gateway. And we talked about the gateways of people and organisations, and that sort of personal thing of crossing the gateway and being enabled to make the next step if that's what we want to do. The notion of gateway is nice because gateway is not a single way. You don't just come in and go out through a gateway, or you move both ways through a gateway. It doesn't actually know which way you're moving, and that's particularly the point with the city centre and the neighbourhoods, which way is this exchange coming? You know, so our sort of group was very much feeling that the exchange is coming from the neighbourhoods to the city centre, not necessarily the other way around. And I think it's just something we need to always bear in mind.
We have such a broad range of what's actually going on and has gone on in the city that it all needs to be part of it.
In an actual space, in a virtual space, where people like ourselves could go to or could meet, but could involve others like the public and other people that wanted to get involved in culture, but literally didn't know where to go.
We need to get people to stay longer in the city when they come up here and do business. And people coming up with ideas that perhaps we come up with some idea like a spoon link on most businesses' organisational websites. So you click on that spoon and we can spoon feed them what's actually happening culturally within the city.
We're scrambling up a mountain and we'll reach the summit on the 11th of December, which is getting the bid in. And that's as simple as pressing send to DCMS, so it will become deeply impersonal and kind of, you know, a transaction that somebody will have to press the button and it will be the city ultimately. We are working now until the first week of December still in open consult mode. We've already been having a lot of conversations, and yes, there are lots of people who aren't in this room. If everybody we talk to is in this room, then the floor would give way. But of course, there are many more people we do need to talk to. We are, for example, holding an event with younger people in the city. Not that there aren't some young people here as well, next Monday. But we are also, in the meantime, having a lot of meetings with people in an ongoing basis. We do, though, have some other tools with which to engage you. Obviously, call us, email us. That's an obvious thing to do.
Yeah, just to say, I think what you're doing is quite good. I mean, I think this project can be quite good if the bid can get through. But